Hi there, Bill Hitchcock. Hold on to your seats, boys and girls, because boy, do we have a whole bunch to get out to you. Today, last day of January 2025, and I had to look at the calendar, January 31st, 2025, and we have got we're going to be talking about seawater surface temperatures. We're going to be talking about the drum blitz. We're going to be talking about, believe it or not, menhaden. We're going to be talking about bluefin tuna. Yes, we're going to give you some more coverage about the speckled trout and the cold stun event. We're going to be going through the history. We're going to cover like 120 years history of cold stun events. This was sent in to me by one of our viewers. Can't thank him enough. And a whole lot more. We're going to be talking about, weather. We're starting a little weather feature. I know we're getting this out today on Friday, but this is forecasted weather for Saturday and Sunday along the coast of North Carolina. And this is kind of stuff you don't get anywhere else, at least I don't see anywhere else. It is amazing stuff. Now, let's just jump right on into it. You may recall a couple of days ago, on January 28th, we were talking about Jeanette's Pier. They're doing beach up there in Nags Head. They do seawater surface temperatures. They measure them. And on January 28th, the beach water temperature was 39 degrees there at Nags Head at Jeanette's Pier. January 28th, 39 degrees. 2 days later, January 30th, the beach water temperature, 46 degrees. It jumped a total of 7 degrees in 2 days. And you go, wow, that's a lot. Well, it is if it was an average. This is what I wanted to show you. Here are the sea surface temperatures as of January 31st, 2025 along the coast of North Carolina. It's obvious where you can see the Gulf Stream, the dark waters, and that's above 70 degrees. The lowest on the scale goes down to 42 degrees Fahrenheit. But take a look at this. I want to zoom on into the Nags Head area more specifically. Take a look at this. Now, we just said that it went from 39 to 46 degrees within 48 hours up there at Nags Head. If you look, see, that's Oregon Inlet right there. If you look, and pardon the pixelation of the white there, this is coming from Rutgers University. Google it, sea surface temperatures, Rutgers University. They do several of these a day. It's free, so take a look at it. But look up there in the northern part of the Outer Banks area, Nags Head area. Do you see how divergent those water temperatures are? Now, I wanted to scroll on down a little bit further from there into the area that we've been talking about a lot in the Raleigh Bay area. Let's see if this is it. Here we go. Take a look at this. The warmest waters are coming into Portsmouth Island, into Ocracoke Island. But do you notice right in the middle of all that warm, you see this jetting out cold? That's coming out of Pamlico Sound. And this is what I really wanted to point out. The coldest waters are there in the Pamlico Sound. Do you see the color differences here? This is at least 2 to 4 degree water temperature difference. So it's much colder in the darker area. And working on up in these head ends, unfortunately, again, it's too pixelated that we could not get any sea surface temperatures off of Rutgers. This happens a lot, but it's at least 40 degrees. And cooler on up to the creeks, and we can dynamically see that in the Pamlico Sound. Again, the warmest waters in here, and up here is the most divergent. I do want to say this one thing. Once you come out of Hatteras Inlet, look at the change. They're in Pamlico in the 40s, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 there's a 20 fathom drop. That's a 100 fathom drop, and all of a sudden, they're getting in like 75 degree water if they're working on past that 100 fathom drop. Dynamic water temperature changes, but this is why we're hearing so much about drum and bluefin tuna out of this area, out of the Oregon Inlet, Hatteras area. And speaking of which, I wanted to show this to you. Jeanette's Pier, they showed, I'm going to show you this video. Take a look at this. That was shot off of the end of the Jeanette's Pier. A bunch of birds working on stuff. What are these birds working on? Well, it wasn't just birds. Guess what? 2 days ago, the dolphin were working on bait fish. What were these bait fish? Well, the fine folks at Jeanette's Pier, by the way, if you don't know, it's part of the North Carolina Aquarium. Kudos to those folks. I was just out there a couple of months ago. It's a lovely place. It was a great place. They took pictures of the school bait fish that had come up to the pier. We can't really see what in the tarnation kind of fish is that. Well, finally, yesterday, somebody there at Jeanette's Pier with the North Carolina Aquarium lowered a GoPro camera into the school of bait fish. Take a look. Menhaden, huge pods of menhadens. That's why those drum we just showed you 2 days ago, pictures of guys fishing off of the pier and off of the surf for all those drum. That's why the bluefin tuna are there. That's why the birds are there. That's why the dolphins are there. All of this, again, is working up in this area right here. It's where they have balled up. Now, how long they're going to be there, I don't know. Will it move further on down? Probably. And by the way, during the month of February, this cold water is going to wrap on around to Ocracoke Inlet, and it's going to move. So keep an eye on the seawater surface temperatures. Now, Oceans East gave a report. I want to give this report that's showing a bluefin tuna that was caught at 109 inches. But this is the bluefin tuna report that I want to get out to you. I love this. I have seen this when I worked with the Tag a Giant Bluefin Tuna Conservation Series. Listen to this. I do want to show this. It's a pretty exciting day for us. We kept getting great reports all the way to Hatteras. The drum were thick around the piers. Plural, that's oceanside piers this morning and through the day. This is what I want to get out to you. Something we don't see often though, and one of the coolest things today, about midday we got a call from one of our friends, an inshore, nearshore charter boat captain. They were catching 100-pound plus bluefin tunas about 2 or 3, if that, miles off the beach. They went looking for drum and found bluefin. So these guys are just fishing just right off the beach. I've been on boats off of Coral Banks when I felt like I could take a baseball in Coral Banks with 4 bluefin tunas hooked up. This is not necessarily unusual. One thing I do as a friendly reminder, again, 2025, the age of technology, we have cell phones, the internet, the interwebs, and all that kind of thing. So we can get information now. We couldn't get the information in the past. Some folks think, well, this is strange. Why are they showing up now? Well, they've always shown up. This is nothing unusual. Just like the cold stun event is nothing unusual. Some of the feedback I've gotten on YouTube, a lot of the guys think this is some strange event. No, no, nay, nay. And speaking of YouTube, got a wonderful message from William Bradley 3694. He said, we found 30 species affected by cold in a 1977 cold snap in Mosquito Lagoon in Indian River, Florida. Mortality of fishes due to cold on the east coast of Florida. I looked that up. So I want to show that to you right now. The abstract, now again, this is from 1977, but it goes back to the 1850s, documenting cold stun events in Florida. Listen to this. Again, reports from 1977. The unusually cold weather during January 1977 resulted in fish mortality in waters of the Indian River Lagoon system, Brevard County, Florida. Air and water temperatures for the area are presented, and 30 fish species affected by the cold are listed. Since 1856, 16 cold-induced fish kills have been reported from Florida waters, averaging 1 per decade. Ecological aspects of cold weather fish mortality vary according to species. I did the average from 1856 to 1977. That average is a cold stun event where something died every 7.5 years. Well, guess what? Here in North Carolina, our last cold stun event was in 2018, 7 years ago. So it is it's normal, it's not unusual. Is it a cycle? I guess so, because it repeats. Is it every 5 years or 3 years, 7 years, 10 years? That varies. But in the Florida, now again, that was Florida, way south of us, cold stun events, they had like sharks, they had manatees, among other things that were affected. We primarily hear about speckled trout because that is a targeted species. As I showed you in the last show 2 days ago, there's pinfish that had died through the cold stun event, and no one targets pinfish, so you don't hear anybody crying in their beer about a dead pinfish. And the only other species that we hear a lot of is turtles. Turtles are greatly affected by cold stun. Now, if I can pull this up, I want to show you something that we're going to start, that we've started to introduce, is temperatures. This is the forecasted temperatures from the National Weather Service for this coming Saturday and Sunday. This is Saturday. One of the things that is very unique about these temperatures is that those temperatures are at the location for which they are forecasted. And if you look closely at the map, some of those temperatures are not on land. You will see some of these temperatures are inshore, offshore. That is the air temperature that is forecasted for those areas. Don't see that very often, do you? Let's see if I can get into, I'm doing something, Sunday temperatures. Here we go. This is Sunday. I zoomed in on that. You can see that just offshore of Hatteras, 61 degrees. Offshore of Portsmouth Island, Coral Banks, 58 degrees. Off of Bogue Banks, 56 degrees. Again, these are air temperatures that we're talking about. Look up there in Pamlico Sound. It was like 48 degrees projected for Saturday, I believe. For Sunday, they're projecting the air temperature 52 degrees in Pamlico Sound behind the north banks of Hatteras. Now, let me pull up another one. What do we have here? Wind. They're projecting winds out of the north. It had been out of the south. It warmed up tremendously on Friday. Depending on where you live, like in the Durham, Raleigh area, it was like 75 degrees on Friday. Here we have for Saturday's projections, the winds out of the north. You can see the Point of Hatteras at 15, out of the Bogue Banks, off of Bogue Banks, 13. Offshore of Hatteras, 20. Let me go on and pull the offshore wind projections. About the same. Maybe it's calmed down a little bit. Point of Hatteras 11, Bogue Banks 15. Let's go on in. What are the chances of precipitation? And again, where you see these temperatures numbers is the point that they're talking about it's going to be. These are water temperatures. All right. Excuse me. Wind. God, if they were 16 degrees Fahrenheit. Anyway, this is wind. Let's move on forward here. Precipitation Saturday. These are the actual per hour by hour precipitation chances off of Bogue Banks, 12%. The Point of Hatteras, 18%. Off of Oregon Inlet, 15%. That's Saturday. And as we go on into Sunday, is it going to be more or less? It seems to be about the same, 14%, 10% there in Moorhead, Beaufort, 15 off of Coral Banks, 13 off of Hatteras. Again, this is the percent chance of rain. Now, why am I doing all of these things? For several reasons. What is this? I don't know what that is. There's several reasons why I'm doing all this. The eventuality of this show is we're going to be doing it live. My background is live television. For decades, I like live. I've turned down a lot of television gigs because it was offered to me in pre-produced, like these are. And I make these shows and post them the same day. But soon we're going to be doing this live, and then the final step will be live and interactive, opening up phone lines and things like that. Now, one other thing. Before we go, had another viewer, Jimmy R. Bright. He contacted me. Boy, he sent me a bunch of videos of cold stun fish. He says, here are some videos I made yesterday at Witchers Beach Road in Beaufort County. That's basically Little Washington area. He says you can take Witchers Beach Road from Old Highway 17 between Washington and Chocowinity to find it. All the canals and lakes connect to Chocowinity Bay inland waters. I saw dead fish littering the banks and even more under the water. These so-called lakes are old sand pits the Witchers sold sand from. They dug the sand from the area, made fingers, canals that connect to the deeper old pits. They cut them into the bay so they are not private to enter from the bay. So he sent me probably 10 videos. You're just seeing one. He did say this. He said, my son was on the Noosh River Ferry yesterday. He said the prop wash was spitting out trout and the gulls were feasting on it. So that is showing you some of the extent of the fish kill. A couple of days ago, we had another viewer write that he flew his drone up Shalote area, didn't find any dead trout or dead fish. So, you know, it's hit and miss. Hopefully everything will warm up. We won't have to worry about this. Please email me, billhitchcock@mail.com, billhitchcock@mail.com, billhitchcock@mail.com with information, with subject matters you want to talk about, or post at YouTube. Again, I'd like to say I'm getting a lot of Facebook friend requests. I'm getting Instagram stuff. People are posting stuff on other Facebook pages. If you want to get up with me, the two ways to do it, billhitchcock@mail.com. That's one, my preferred. Two, at YouTube. Post up. And read those comments at YouTube. There's some very fascinating things. That's it for now. I'm Bill Hitchcock. Until next time, see ya.
Post your questions, comments, and concerns here on YouTube, or email them directly to Bill Hitchcock at this address.